Hi, my name is Valeria Torres, and I decided to write my informative speech on solitary confinement, also known as a special housing unit, the hole, or the shoe. This is a form of punishment an inmate receives for breaking a prison's rule, or sometimes just for inmates' protection from being harmed by the other inmates or prisoners. This space that they are being confined in for 23 hours of the day is known to be as small as a parking spot, with little to no contact with other humans. Their meals get delivered through a small slot on the door, and aside from bed to toilet and sink, they have no access to anything else. Rarely do they even have windows in these cells. When they move you to solitary confinement, you lose the opportunity to interact with other humans. I want to bring awareness that this system can affect a person's psychological health, physical well-being, and it is not proven to actually fulfill its purpose. I will be talking about 3 of the biggest concerns solitary confinement brings. First, affecting a person's psychological health. Limiting a person's human contact can lead to depression, anxiety, paranoia, and cause someone to feel disordered. It is known that human identity is mainly socially created, so you can just imagine how difficult it is for a person to adjust when they are released from prison. The Khalif Browder story is a 16-year-old kid that spent almost 3 years in solitary confinement. This is a perfect example of how it affects your psychological health. Once Khalif was released from jail, although he tried his absolute best to adjust to normality, he was far beyond damage, which led him to commit suicide. According to Dr. Bree Williams, being isolated in a small space with no access to sunlight causes lack of vitamin D, putting oldies at risk for fractures and falls, which are leading causes of hospitalizations and death. There is a case from a former prisoner known as Robert King, who spent 29 years in solitary confinement. He was released from jail nearly blind. His eyesight was completely compromised, and because he spent years not seeing any objects or faces, he had to train and learn what things look like. As stated in the article in the Texas Tribune by Dolly McCulley, psychiatry experts have agreed that solitary confinement can harm any prisoner, but it is especially detrimental for those with mental illness. The isolation and sensory deprivations often exacerbated symptoms and lead to increased suicide attempts. Although this system was set in place for prisoners to be separated for their safety or other safety, it is not being effective. Instead of the prisoner being held in a hole and reflecting from their mistakes, it deteriorates their standard of living. My belief is that we should come up with a better solution that will actually help prisoners' overall well-being, that does not keep them away from human interaction or human contact.
I hope that this informative speech persuades people to look more into our prison system, and that it helps people want to reform prisons, because keeping human beings from human interactions or from any type of daily activities can only worsen any matter. It would definitely not help a human being.